gets up and sit at his desk. Oh.
Hello, and you're listening to Let's Drown Out. Today, the whole crew's involved. We are followed and joined by Frank.
Oh.
Frank on his new computer.
Hello.
Andy RC.
Hello.
NJ Tech.
Good evening.
I think we're joined by Jack.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm
dropping in and out
always
of it
last. Sorry. Moni Tony.
Bonjour.
And I'm Bright Till I Fly, or Jack. To start off with, Tony has become a bit like, basically I need to put out a public service announcement about Tony. Tony has now realised that he can use the power of internet to get things that he wants. So he's putting out posts and people now send him things. That fuels people his collectomaniaism. Have you seen how many quads he owns? So on the Let's Drown Out Facebook page, I will give a list of things that you can send Tony. It includes plasters, used toothbrushes, cat shit, and all hate mail about previous co-hosts.
I only like wooden toothbrushes because they're environmentally friendly. Thank you. No plastic.
Aren't toothbrushes made out of like pig's hair or something?
Hopefully not.
No, isn't it nylon 10
Whatever it
or
is.
something?
It's nylon, definitely nylon.
But the plastic
sure?
ends up in the ocean floating around. So if you're going to send wooden ones.
But yeah, I'm sure
Do you own a
the
wooden
bristles and
toothbrush?
brushes are all animal based.
I bet this motherfucker owns a electric toothbrush.
I do.
Yeah, that's made of plastic.
Yeah, but I've kept it for nigh on 7 years.
What about
Right,
the head?
Tony, if you're going to ask for stuff
It's like Trigger's broom.
and people are going to send you stuff, you've got to give stuff away. In with one thing, out with the other.
Look, I'll put a post out because there's so much negativity going on in the community at the moment. I'll put a post out. Look,
Oh,
I'm
here
doing
we
it.
go.
I'm doing it.
Tony, the saviour of all of us.
What
I know the
negativity?
truth.
I don't know of any negativity. What negativity is out there?
Honestly, come on, Andy RC. You need to join
I
our chat.
live under a rock. Honestly, I don't know what's
We
going on.
need to send.
Well, I was very impressed. I was impressed with the stuff that you got. You got a GoPro 3, was it? And what other stuff did you get?
4.
GoPro
4. It was Mikey
I know,
Dredd.
one more than
Is he in
Tony
the
can
chat?
count.
I think he's in the chat. Big shout out to Mikey Dredd, man. Or his new nickname is going to be Mikey Shred because me and him are going to go and shred together one day. I owe him a beer, man. That's really nice of him. I just put a post out saying, look, I'm doing a long distance wing flight. I've bought all this, done this. Both my GoPros have packed up. I've tried using them umpteen times and they don't work. I was putting a post out saying I want to buy a GoPro 3 and he just sent me a GoPro 4, which was cool. And then Neil Cody from iDrone sent me his big one. If you've seen it on my post, he sent me his big, I think it's a 10-turn helical.
I'm sorry, I'm making that into a GIF.
What? Neil Cody's big one. Me doing that.
Oh.
Neil would like that. So yeah, I was just blown away by
This community is the best for stuff like that. Honestly, say whatever negative things you can, but if you ask for it, someone will step up and say, yeah, sure, here, have it. The only issue I have is I've got 2 GoPro Hero 4s, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I find that they just eat SD cards. Literally every 2 weeks, I'll need a new SD card for my Hero 4. I don't know if anyone else finds that. It's the camera that I use on it, like my hat cam, and after about 2 weeks, I get the SD card error and it no longer reads. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what. Do you guys find the same with the GoPros?
I've had a few errors that have crept in on a couple of cards, but I wonder if it's possibly something heat related. because those sensors do get seriously warm.
Yeah.
And the SD cards, obviously. I mean, if you ever look at the schematic in the inside of a GoPro, it's ridiculous. Just how, like, no nanometer of that space is unused. They really have crammed everything in. So the fact that sensor gets so hot as they do on cameras that do 4K and above anyway, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some damage done from that. But yeah, I've had a couple of SD cards that have died in mine. The good quality ones too. So yeah, there's something.
Yeah, that's literally my biggest expense is SD cards, and the SD card gets so hot as well. So that makes sense that it's a real pain.
Cover it in thermal paste.
ScanDisk, because I've just brought out a 400
gigabyte. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Mental. I bet it's 250 quid, but wow, that'd make your phone never run out.
Yeah.
Oh my word! I'm going to give something away. I have got 4 Sunny Sky motors. I don't know what KV they are. I don't care. One of them's apparently a bit dodgy, but they used to belong to Oscar Lang.
Famous then. Famous.
Yeah.
Signed them.
Famous Sunny Sky motors then.
Yeah. So if you want them, just make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and write something mean about Tony in the chat.
It's
and
not
I will pick the best one.
Sunny Sky do good motors. You know, they've been doing it a long time. They're just a bit of a quiet brand that don't shout about the new latest greatest magnet and go mad on their marketing, but they've been doing it a very long time. I think the only thing with Sunny Sky that I found is the bearings are a little bit rubbish on most of the Sunny Skies that I've tested, but the motors themselves are very good. But I've got that new GT200 by Diatone to review, and that is Sunny Sky that have made those motors. So I'm hoping they'll put some decent bearings in them, and I'll get to check them out. But yeah, they're a good company, solid motors.
You've angered me now, NJ.
Why is that?
I bought from Hobby King the Hobby King bearing puller,
Right?
and it is about as useful as Tony helping me fix a quad.
Oh,
It is the worst piece of. I've never reviewed anything on Hobby King, but I swear to God, that is something I'm going to review. It is. You couldn't pull a tooth out of a dead horse's head with it.
it's an interesting
Even if
point
you
of reference,
glued a
Jack.
set of pliers to it. It is. I'm looking at it now. It fucking angers me. Sorry.
Why did you give it away as well with the Sunny Sky motors?
Because it's an insult. Do you know what? I wouldn't even send it to
Me.
Yeah.
Do you know what the trick is as well with getting motors, getting bearings out of motors? Because I used to have to do this all my RC helicopter bearings would eventually on my nitro helis. The back bearing would always go, and the trick we used to do to get the bearing out was to chuck it in the oven and heat it up for 10 minutes.
Don't that ruin the enamel?
On a IC engine, no. But what I'm saying is the application of heat. If you need to heat the motor, like hairdryer is fine. And then you want to try and cool the bearing, because that's the best way to get a new bearing in a motor, is to warm the housing up so that the metal expands, and then put the bearings in a plastic bag in the freezer. And then when you pull those out, they'll literally drop straight in. And then as soon as it all comes to room temperature, the friction fits perfect. But yeah, a little bit of heat, and you could use a compressed air gun. If you turn them upside down, you get that lovely super cold. So you can use that. You can use a little squirt of that to chill the bearing. But if you can get those two things to happen, get the bearing cold and the outside of the case hot, you have a better chance of pulling them out.
Do people really do that? Like motors are like 20 quid. Do people really still bother?
Hey, I still like the tinkering. If I can fix a motor, I'll do it.
Not everyone is a complete shitpo like you who just goes on the fucking Facebook. Has anyone got a slipper that looks like this one?
Look,
because I lost my other one.
I was prepared
to pay for
stuff.
And it stayed there.
For God's sake, I put a post saying, look, I want to buy a GoPro 3. Someone said, why don't you want a GoPro 4? I said, I only need 30 frames a second. It's going in a wing. And someone sent me one. You're just jealous. I'm
you,
sorry, Jack. People
did you
like me,
guys-
not you.
Did you guys ever see that program where there was like girls on Twitter and they would have all these followers and they would like put out requests for things that they want and like their Twitter followers would buy it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they got to
Sugar
like
daddies.
yeah, that was
Tony's got a
Yeah, but
sugar
you have to
daddy.
You have to
Mikey's
show nipples and stuff. I'm not doing nipple shots.
Yeah. I'll wear those
Oh,
high
God.
heels if you get them for me,
not
Mikey.
even for that. I think I
Sorry,
definitely
I don't
will.
want to upset Mikey. I just want to do Tony's head in. No.
Look, he's going to get a beer off me. He's helping the community. He's helping me. I want to do a long range fight and record it. It's all
Helping the
good.
community means getting you sectioned, getting you off the street, away from that neighbour that you harass.
Bloody neighbour I harass.
I have to say, I was watching Tony's channel. He posted some FPV footage using the Clearview system. I was massively impressed because I don't do racing or anything like that. I'm no good at it, but I thought that was amazing. So we're all picking on Tony, but he's great at FPV, I think.
Thank you, Andy RC.
he's good at
We
buying
have to call you
expensive
Right,
Andy
now I've got that
RC.
out of the way. Flat Earth. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just
Jack,
kidding.
Jack,
Nice
Mikey
thing.
in the chat has offered you a Mobius.
there you go. Have a Mobius.
Oh, no, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Honestly. Like, look, mate, you've done more than enough for me, mate. You've given me fuel for Tony's fire. That's all I could ever want.
And I'm sending, and I'm only
maybe-
borrowing the antenna from Neil Cody. He lent it to me, so I haven't got millions of things. Oh, yeah, I've got a GoPro 4, which is absolutely great. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, the
And
only
I
thing
got
I am jealous
some
of is
antennas
Tony's
from
got,
NSRC.
has got a power checker. I do quite like that.
What, the
Well, there you go. I'll
immersion
let you
checker?
borrow that.
Yeah, man. I don't know how accurate it is.
I've got one of those, but I think they use it at races, though, don't they, to check 25 milliwatts? I've never used
Yeah.
one, but I imagine they're pretty accurate. I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
I think it's quite good.
I wanted to ask Tony at Clearview, like, because I was watching your video and I thought, wow, that video feed's amazing. And then I looked at the price; it's like $600. Is it worth that? Do you think?
I didn't buy that is the top one. There's two different Clearviews.
Right.
There's the one I've got, which is the race. I think Neil Cody imported 5 in the end. I think they were like 350, 400 quid each.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, I was well impressed with the feeder. I assumed it was the VTX, so because it said the channel frequency in the corner. So is that the Clearview that does that, or your on-screen display?
It's the clear
Yeah,
digital lock on an analog feed, and I wouldn't race with anything else now I've had it.
Yeah,
Because
so
there's just there's no breakup, there's no flicking, you don't get any screen tear.
is that so?
You
Is
know, I've
everyone
raced
using
before.
is everyone using that sort of thing at races then? Because I don't know. But
Most people do use ground stations. There's a few people still just using the goggles, but most people at races do use ground stations. And I'm starting to see Clearview all the time now. Like, I've seen it on other people's channels that I watch.
yeah, it really got me
But it's
thinking
just,
about it.
It is so good. Once I flew my wing Saturday with it. I flew quite far Saturday with my wing testing it, but once you lose the digital lock, you can't get it back. So
Right.
long range FPV probably not a good idea. That's why I've not going to use it when I fly my wing. But for racing and stuff, it's just awesome because you just don't get any flicks or breakups. I think it's worth the 350 to 400 £400 what I paid.
How's it do indoors in sort of high reflective environments?
Really well. I think that's really what loads of people bought it for that. Yeah, it's really good indoors apparently. I haven't tested it indoors, but it is good indoors.
It
And
makes Tony
I just
sound like
love-
he's on the run.
I just love the fact that you don't get any tears in the screen or any white flicks and that. When I went back to my goggles the other day, it was just awful.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was ready to pull the trigger, and I was like, $600. Yeah, so it must have been the higher one that I was looking at. I'm definitely going to look into it though, because like you say, crystal clear feed. I mean, you were racing with other people as well, so you know.
Yeah, there was about 6 in that race.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah, get the.
I think it
get the
spoils
racing
him
one.
though.
I think
you know,
the best place to get it is it Multi-Rotor Store, Metal Danny's place in Holland. I think that they get it in quite often.
Yeah, what antennas is that running as well? Is that clover?
I run 2 patches on it, but you can't. I was watching Joshua Barbwell done a video on it the other day, and he was talking to Infotron, the guy who invented it or who manufactures it.
Yeah.
And he was saying it's best to use 2 the same, like either 2 pagodas or 2 patches. But me and my mate Bradders, I got my mate Bradders one as well. He got one at the same time. And we've actually been using 1 patch, 1 pagoda. And
Right.
that seems to work better than one of the same, even though it says on the leaflet when you read it or download it, use the same antenna. But we're
With
actually,
a pagoda on the quad, is that?
we use just I just use a normal antenna on the quad,
Right.
and then
I was just interested because the
And-
feed just looks so great, and then I look
it
at
is, it
I look
really
at mine,
is.
and it's just full of breakup, and yeah.
I know. Once you get one, you just it is brilliant.
I've got a little shout out, but also I remembered that NJ's back. NJ, what's it like dating Sophie Alice Bextor now? I've
she's
been
there
waiting for
a very
that.
long time.
I think the listeners need some context there.
Oh God!
Oh my! How do you not dribble on stage, let alone remember how to play the guitar?
These are questions I was fully not prepared for this
He's
evening.
professional, Jack, unlike you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what can I say? I've known Sophie for probably 10 years, so yeah, she's a good mate.
Of course.
Very, very nice lady.
Yeah,
Look
I
at him
can
name
say-
dropping, mate. Yeah, we go out for beers now and again, you know.
Yeah, she's the type of girl, right, or lady, should I say, that would make any normal man forget how to breathe out of his nose. Right, yeah, just. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Is that why you've been away? Is that why you've been away for a month? I've been
extremely, extremely busy with work, which has meant that I've unfortunately just not been here. I've literally been out the country and just on the road, so I haven't had a chance to do. Meanwhile, there's just been a mountain of things arriving here, so I've got an enormous number of videos to start fighting my way through. But yeah, sort of end of this week and starting next week, I'll be very much back on it, which is all good.
And just so everyone knows, Work to NJ is the guitarist for Sophie Alex Bextor. I couldn't say.
I used to play for a full time.
Personal
I don't play for a full time anymore. I used to play for a full time. This is a long time ago. For about 3 years. But yeah,
then we split up.
well, she took a
cheated
break,
on her.
and because I'm basically a musical whore, and I'm a session player, so I just move around playing for different people.
Slag.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, she's doing a different setup now since she's done her new albums, and yeah. But I got to the management rang me up and said, "Are you free for a gig a couple of weeks ago?" Just because a regular guitarist Pablo couldn't do it, and I went and filled in for him, and yeah, I hadn't seen her for a few years, so yeah, it was great. Good to catch up, and then yeah, I've been out and about with other people doing other stuff, so yeah, it's summertime, so there's loads of festivals and stuff, so yeah, it's a super busy time of the year for me.
Yeah, I'd laugh if they looked at you was like, "Hey, NJ's pretty sexy. We need to keep those two away from each other in case she gets pregnant. That could ruin her career. Pablo, you don't look as good. You're hired.
I think NJ's like engaged to a beautiful girl.
I am engaged to
Of
Mrs.
course you
Mrs.
would
Future
be. Look at
NJ.
him.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's very lovely, and yes, that's all good. But yeah, no, Sophie's got 5 kids now, I think. No, it's 4. Yeah, she's got a few children, and her husband Richard is. Do you remember a band called The Feeling?
Oh yeah,
No.
yeah,
Old
yeah.
enough to remember The Feeling? So that
I know The Feeling, yeah.
the bass player Richard, who's got his private pilot's license, and occasionally I've sort of been flying with him. He's big into aviation and flying stuff, but yeah, that's Sophie's husband.
Cool.
So yeah, there you go.
Andy RC,
She was like,
that, isn't he?
What was that, Tone?
I said, speaking of singing and dancing, you've been doing some of that, haven't you?
Oh well, the difference there is I just do it in my bedroom, and NJ does it for a job, so there's a little bit of a difference there. But I have a little.
you never
dabble.
wear the sunglasses.
They
Never go
broke.
full Muse.
They broke.
Full
Man.
Muse.
I'm gutted. Look at that. The arm came. I was out flying and I stood on them, and that's it. So
No.
it's game over, man.
No, you've
man.
lost your full power.
Yeah.
Well, I liked your music and your editing. I think you should just do it like Andy RC Rock On channel or something.
Yeah, well, I struggled with music for years because NJ will tell you that it's even if you're like the best musician in the world, it's so hard to do. So I just do it for fun. I had a music channel years ago, but it seems that I'm better at describing RC quadcopters that which isn't as glamorous, but it's just as fun, I guess.
Do you reckon you'll do like a musical episode like Buffy?
Yeah, I thought
about
some people said, oh, you're like probably one of the only people that could like fly, because a lot of people do these videos where they fly to a backing track, and some people said, well, why don't you record the entire backing track and then fly to it? So that's something I've been thinking about, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. and like everything I do is YouTube, and you really struggle to do music on YouTube because everything's copyrighted, and you can't monetize it, and you get strikes and things like that. YouTube is getting really terrible for that. I posted a video today, right? And it was another YouTube channel. They challenged me to fly a quadcopter with a transmitter behind my back. So the thumbnail was me with my hands behind my back, and it kind of looked like I was in handcuffs. And because it looked like that, YouTube have decided that it's not advertiser friendly. Because my hands are like, it's like I'm a prisoner with my hands behind my back. So I wasn't
crazy.
So when it comes to music and monetization,
it was just coincidence that the police officers were either side of you.
Yeah. yeah. We won't go into that, but yeah, YouTube's awful for music, which is why I use that channel NCS, no copyright sounds, and even some of their stuff, YouTube can recognize it as something else, and yes.
So they bird tweeting as well. That some of that's copyrighted, and I can never remember the tune. You know the fancy pants art tune. You know that tune?
Like a classical tune.
Classical tune. I can't think of what it is. All I can think of is Moonlight Sonata. It's not that. I use that, and that's like the copyright's long gone for that because it's been like 100 odd years, and we got copyright striked for that.
Oh yeah,
it's
you
ridiculous.
will do.
Because Chinese companies like register like license-free stuff, that's like public domain and stuff like that.
It's also the recording might not be because there's the recording and there's the composition.
Yeah.
And so the recording might still be copyrighted by whoever was playing it and recorded it. And
I'll give you a tip. If you use copyrighted music, if you just slow down the track by like 1 second,
if you
doesn't get it.
Outlaw.
You know what? That's even worse though, because YouTube have a system, they call it the strike system, and I used to run a music channel. If you get 3 strikes, they will literally, no matter if you've got 1 million subscribers, they'll shut your channel down. So if you are found to try and get by the copyright laws by slowing it down or speeding it up or changing the pitch, that's something that people do as well. If you're found to be doing that, they'll shut you down without any strikes or anything. It's so yeah, it does work, but if you've got a lot of subscribers, you definitely risk your entire channel there by doing that. But yes, okay, you can get by it.
Andy RC, don't do that.
but Tony's going to be carrying on doing it.
Yeah, I will.
Well, Mikey Dread in the chat said that you can check your songs on YouTube before you post it.
You can.
Apparently there's...
I use stuff off SoundCloud, and I seem to be doing all right off that. Rob Britton, are you running iNav on your wing, Tony? No, I'm running absolutely no flight controller apart from my thumbs. All I've got is a call out shouting out my D. So it's going to be fun. Davey Boy asks, anyone here running the MakerTech F405 IO? And Mr. Frost says, evening lads, sitting in a Spanish hotel bar listening to and watching LDO. Hey, bonjour. No, that's not Spanish, is it?
Have to be hola, I think you're looking for.
Hola.
Yeah. Hola, Mr. Frost.
Oh, mate.
Is anyone running the MakerTech S405?
The Maytech stuff, I've not got.
I can't get telemetry to work on that board. Sorry.
No, yeah, I've not got the all-in-one. I've got the standard F4 OSD, and so far I've actually been pretty impressed with it, and I haven't had any issues with it yet. And I've actually ordered another one to go in a 130. So far they've been great. But I did see in my local group someone had problems with the all-in-one. So maybe there are a few issues still with that model, but the standard OSD one without the current sensor and all the rest of it on it works fine.
Why can't I get Smart Port to work on it? TX3, Smart Port, and then telemetry enabled, just won't send anything. Weird.
That's unusual.
That is weird. It must be me. It's got to be me. I must be doing something dumb.
David
What am I doing
says, put it on soft serial and don't invert it.
Oh, there you go. That sounds like a potential solution.
I might as well just flush any CPU I've got left.
Apparently, it only works with soft serial on the Matic. Zero suggests uninvert sports signal, if that means anything to anyone.
S-port, yeah.
I've used
that's good.
Davey Boy's tracks in some of my videos, by the way. So thanks, Davey Boy. He sent me some tracks to use on my flying wings. He plays the guitar. Why don't you do any of that, NJ? Play it like rip the guitar and then put it on over.
Because that's work. That's work. That's one thing, and this is the other.
He's too busy like fighting Sophie off him. She's like, someone who can play real guitar.
Yeah,
He's
let's
got
pick on
5 strings.
tonight. This is better than Let's Pick on Tony. I like this. Come on, Andy RC.
You see, I'm the opposite. Whereas like RC stuff is work, and then playing the guitar is like the fun. So yeah, I completely understand that. You definitely have to draw a line when it comes to.
He's the NJ Antichrist. You two got to fight each other.
Listen. I would have loved to have been able to do music for a career, but I wasn't good enough for it, and it was too hard. So yeah, that would have been my dream, but.
For note, I've heard Andy's stuff. First of all, he's very annoying because he can play several instruments really well. Like I can play guitar, but I can't play anything else.
It's not just one, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I will disagree on one thing. It's definitely not always about. It does help if you are of a certain aptitude, but there is always an element of being in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people, and there's that whole side of it is also a big part of it as well. And you know, I know some incredibly talented people, much like yourself, that haven't ended up going into music for a living because there was a point where they cut off and say I've tried, and it just hasn't, the right connections weren't made and the right opportunities didn't come about. And you know, it's like lots of other industries, I guess, in that respect. But
I gave it a good 10 years at the music, and I sort of said that's enough. And I've always done flying, and I never thought that flying would be the thing that I did, because it was the thing that I did like for fun. But I'll take it, it's fine. I like both. I like doing both. Yeah,
exactly. Both great fun.
When are you going to start eating disgusting food like Ashens?
Oh yeah, he takes like 20-year-old like canned food, doesn't he? And eats it and stuff. I don't know if you've checked the channel recently, but I haven't had any like cheapo stuff recently, like Ashen style stuff. It's all been tough.
Maybe you should do that with battery. Get like some like Nike ads and some lead acid batteries and fly your quads on them. There you go. This is equivalent.
Or equivalent. I used to, when I was younger, if you got the 9-volt battery and just licked them, that was like that was a pastime when I was younger. There was no, you know, Android and iOS phones. It was like, right,
he really is a northerner. He doesn't wear t-shirt. He wears t-shirts out in the cold. And for fun, he licks 9-volt batteries.
That's it. Now it's lipos. Now it's like 2S lipos just there, you know.
Do a video of that. I want to see you lick a 2S lipo.
That could be a good video. I'll make it so that you can now charge on YouTube, can't you? Can like charge like 99p to watch it, and then it'll just be me there with a 2S battery licking it. And
you can start a car off a lipo. I've seen that happen.
I've done that. You can actually buy, because I'm terrible. I love cars, but I'm not very mechanical with it. So I bought a Lipo Pack. It's like a starter kit, and you literally just plug it to your battery. And it's worked for me. I had a dead battery on my car, and it's like a 3S, and it just starts the car. It's great. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I've seen it happen before.
Don't lick those ones though.
No.
Mode 1 flying, and look, you can tell a northerner because they fly mode 1 and they prefer Deans. It's because they can lick the terminals.
No, I don't like Deans. I'm XT60 all the way.
Horrible connector.
It's not American, is it?
I do have a couple of Deans just for fun. Just every
to lick. You dirty Deans licker.
I'm surprised you even let me on the show being mode 1, because it's like the Stone Ages. Mode 1 came from when like controllers were on buttons, I think. So like when buttons became gimbals, they converted the buttons to gimbals, and that's where mode 1 is. One thing I've never understood though is like you'd think 1 would be the best because it's 1, but no, 2 seems to be the best. I don't understand it. I wish I had learned mode 2 from the start, because everything's mode 2, but there you go. What can I say?
My logic with it is, okay, so there's two things here. First of all, and again, big shout out to the BMS web guys, but both of those guys, and Thomas, who's pretty much winning everything out there at the minute in the FPV racing world, is mode 1. Yeah, he's mode 1. So if anything, it shows it can work. For me, the reason I like mode 2 in terms of how a flight stick, because I've done a lot of full scale flying as well, it's that whole thing of having the pitch and the roll on one stick. That's very much akin to how, you know, a stick in a helicopter would work, and that's why that translates well to me. And you know, in a helicopter you have your throttle on the left hand, so left hand throttle works for me, and you know, you're just putting what you do with your feet on the cross axis of the left stick. So that's why that makes sense to me. But I guess if that was the only option at the time, I would have learned that way, and would be what I'm doing now. So I guess it's just what you pick it up with.
I came from the days before the internet existed, and you had to join a club, because if you went out, the only thing you could do is either buy a huge nitro helicopter or a huge nitro plane. And I joined a club, and the club all flew mode 1, and the way that you learned was the instructor in the club would get you to fly, and he'd force you to fly mode 1. I didn't even know mode 2 was a thing. And then of course, as I grew up and the internet was a thing, you learn that sort of like the broader net, everyone flies mode 2, and mode 2 absolutely, like, I'm probably
What was it like learning that you were a freak?
well, I'm probably the only, because like anyone who flies mode 1, they always say, oh, mode 1 is the best, and all. I don't agree. I'm probably the only mode 1 person that doesn't agree, and I agree with NJ Tech that it makes much more sense to, in fact, I fly mode 1, that's like my main mode, but when I'm doing reviews, I have to fly mode 2 because so much stuff comes in mode 2 and it's too much of a hassle to move it over. So I sort of close my eyes, and I remember the days when I was learning on Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I imagine that the left side is now my throttle, and it's like you're holding a joystick sort of thing. And mode 2 makes much more sense. Sadly, you know, I did 20 odd years flying mode 1, so I just can't, my brain's just wired that way. But I once flew with a guy, and he flew mode 4 but with the pitch reversed. So
what's mode 4?
Yeah, you'll have to run that one by me. I know it exists.
Didn't
But
he just
I can't-
hold
what
the
is it?
controller upside down?
yeah. So his down was up, and I just couldn't. It was like basically if you're you know, if you fly planes, it's like flying inverted the whole time. That's kind of what. So like,
That's
you know,
bizarre.
so yeah, it's whatever you learn. You know, it's like guitar. You know, you can play. Yeah, there's mode 1 to 4. Yeah, there's all sorts of different.
What the heck?
Everyone's in the chat, Andy, is asking how old you are, because you look like Benjamin Button apparently.
What does that mean?
But young but old.
Young or old,
but
Benjamin
young.
I think this is one of the things that I struggle with the most, is like to be taken.
Stop shaving. Yes.
Nothing grows. I'm 12.
He's 12, everybody.
Don't. You'll excite Tony.
This is the biggest thing that I struggle with. I don't know whether it's because I sound young or because I do my reviews from a single bed, but people assume that I'm about 16, and I turned 34 2 weeks ago, so I'm probably older than most people.
You're older
Not
than
me.
me.
Yeah.
You're not older than Tony. Nothing's older than Tony.
But I really struggle to get taken seriously because, you know, people assume that I'm about 16, and everyone thinks, well, what can someone so young tell me? But I'll tell you this, right? I've been flying since I was 7 years old, and when I got to 11, I passed my BMFA examinations, and at the age of 11, I was like buddy boxing. I don't know if you guys will know what buddy boxing is. It's like,
yeah, we're not idiots.
No, but like it's such a long
Just because
time
your
ago.
BMFA pass was chiseled into stone.
It actually was, like, you printed a certificate off and everything.
Oh my god.
You know, I was like 11 years old and teaching people how to fly who were like 40, and it you know, there's definitely a prejudice there with age and stuff. So I totally get that, but no, sadly I'm 34, and it's difficult to get taken seriously. But yeah, I'm quite old.
You need to find yourself a cougar.
I wish I was 34, you bastard.
I wish I was 24.
So do I. I feel 24 though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think your brain never ages, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I always feel like I'm immature and still
Yeah.
16.
All blokes are though. I mean, look at us. We're all playing with fucking toys. What
Yeah.
fun.
They're not toys. It says on the side, yeah. They're
I
not toys.
know. I just winded everyone up saying they're toys.
But they
Everyone
are
gets
toys.
out their pram when you say it's toys. My mate Rich goes, they're not toys. They're fucking this and that. And he goes mental if I call them toys. They're like, oh, it's so funny. When
Everything's a toy, though, isn't it? A 3D printer's a toy, you know. So it's
Big boys' toys.
It's all toys, yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
Look, Andy RC, at least you can draw like facial hair on. Do you know what I mean? Tony can't grow anymore.
It just grows in, like, I can't do it.
patchy. I
Yeah,
grow
patchy.
patchy. Yeah, look, I've shaven tonight. Like, my hair, little bit beard, but I've had this goatee for like 15 years. I'm not ashamed.
I've
I
got a
will-
Hobby King beard.
I always find it hilarious when I see like these
Oh.
17-year-old guys, and because it's like the in thing to have a huge beard at the moment, and I'm 34 and I'm like,
Yeah, I know. I literally need a cappuccino. That's it. You know what I mean?
London FBV said, collect your pubes like South Park and stick them to
Oh mate, I am
Get on,
loving
London.
having Frank like connected. Man, your old PC, what was it made out of? Wood.
Yeah, I mean, literally, this laptop that I'm currently on weighs a third of the weight of the old one.
Do you go to like move it and pick it up and it like you throw it in the air?
I'm like, I can lift it with one hand. It's amazing.
It's like the Hulk.
Feeling in my legs if I actually put it on my lap. It's brilliant. I love
Are you
it.
guys all using laptops? Everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not. I'm on my desktop PC.
I'm on a desktop. I feel like a dinosaur using a desktop.
I use a desktop normally, but you know, just
That's why
You
my
haven't made it
face.
over there
That's
yet.
why my face keeps changing color every other second, because I got a big screen here and the light keeps changing all the time.
I know. Davey Boy says I'm the same. I'm 37 and my facial hair is a joke.
There's
That's it.
NJ with his full-on beard, Jack with his beard.
I know, like I hate it, man. I look like a right sex offender.
I wasn't going to say anything, Jack, but yeah.
I know, like it is proper, like, and it's ginger as well. Like bloody the guy at bloody what's it called? Thug, like calls me Ginge. Like I used to order stuff from him, and he'd be like, "You're right, Ginge," and he'd draw cocks all in my stuff, like, and
Don't even
gobshite
start me.
hooligans.
Now that's customer service.
Yeah, that is customer service, isn't it? Oh no, bless him.
So are all you guys going to Hobby King Live this weekend? Am I the odd one out? Is every single one of you going?
You need to catch a train, Andy, and come down.
Oh, it's too.
Even if it's raining, I think everyone's going.
Oh, it's like doesn't it start at 9 o'clock though? I'm just going to bed.
No,
then.
it starts like you can register at 10.
What it can like what is it? Is it a race event? What is
No,
it?
it's just
No,
pissing
it's
around
just-
in a field.
Yes.
It's
Bunch of
hobby
messing
pit.
around.
Do you know what I mean?
Flying at,
Have you seen their shipping service?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I can't go. Is that shit?
We can collect it on the day. It'll
I
probably be quicker.
I had a run in with Hobby King a few years ago, and like when I was just starting out, I spent a fortune with them, and a load of stuff never turned up, and I've always had a bit of a thing against it.
That's why you don't want to come, isn't it?
I
probably got it. Hinges and canopy. What were they? Little canopy lugs and things. Because I kept for like 6 months, kept getting boxes every month from Hobby King that I'd never ordered.
Yeah, I hear that their customer service is much better these days, but I spent basically, when I was first getting into quadcopters, I spent about like £1,000. I bought 4 items, and none of them ever turned up, and I had to do a PayPal request, and it got messy, and they said they were going to shut my account down, and unless I cancel my PayPal disputes, it got really messy, and I just always had it in the back of my mind, sort of like a bad vibe with them.
Yeah, that's not
Now
cool.
who's losing out, Hobby King?
But I don't want to, you know, I've always said this in my videos. I'd always give them the chance to redeem themselves, because we're going back to like 2012 here. You know, I think everyone was sort of just figuring out this, you know, their customer service system back then. So, you know, that's not the reason. It's very far, and yeah.
But the other problem we've got now, of course, is the one in December happening, not happening? The one at the NEC?
The UK drone
It's
show.
not happening.
That's
I
not
don't know.
happening.
I'm a bit confused about that, because last year it happened in December and I missed the opportunity to go there. But recently they've had a event called the Insomnia series, right? And that was a UK drone show event. So I don't know whether are they classing that as the UK drone show, or is it a separate thing? I didn't go last year. Did you guys go last
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Insomnia
where,
is just a
where
game.
was it last
a
year?
game. Sorry.
Sorry, where was it last year? I did go. I just
NEC.
And
NEC.
it was,
It was the NEC. Oh, okay.
well, I was drunk that day, and I remember it was in the NEC. Yesterday. Come
Listen,
on.
I did a lot of travelling, Tony.
I was
Everything
the one
starts
you
to blend
met
in.
there and got you in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, remember that?
just because I'm not Sophie. Oh, if it was Sophie, I'd remember. Fucking.
Oh, it's
Sorry,
all coming
Frank.
back
What
to
were you
me
saying?
now.
I was
Yeah.
going to say that Insomnia Festival, there's like a gaming thing, and then the UK Drone Show, I think, organised the racing that was going on there. Sort of
Yeah.
FP of the
I got
esports kind of
told.
thing.
I got told there wasn't enough interest for them to hold another one at the NEC. There wasn't enough suppliers and people going to basically pay for it to run itself. So
Shall we
I'm pretty,
I can see that.
contact
pretty
Andrew
sure-
Newton on the kitchen table at gmail.com? He'll tell
Simon,
us.
Simon Newton, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the raging potential alcoholic. Like, literally, I've got a gallon of red here. And a dude.
I love that channel, but he's passed it on to somebody else, hasn't he? Now, because
He's not doing it anymore, man.
No.
I don't
Is he
think.
not?
Neither. No one's done anything on that channel.
That's one of the channels that got me into this, Simon's channel. But yeah, it's not so active these days, which is a shame.
Not. He started doing stuff for the NEC. Oh, that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, but it's that. Well, what was the event like last year? Because if you're saying there's not enough interest, but I thought it was quite busy from what I saw from the
It
pictures.
was, but I don't think the interest this year. I don't think enough of the players have want to put in
The
any money.
exhibitors, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'Cause,
I can't
yeah.
believe how not unpopular, but how not popular it is. Like I mention it every time, but when I went to Western Park, there's hardly anybody there on the FPV flight line. I don't understand it because it's by far to me the most interesting thing that's going
You know
on.
what will happen is we're all 10 or 12 years ahead of our time. And what will happen is we'll totally get bored of it. It will stagnate. And then a load of hipsters will be like, "Yeah, do you know about this?" And then act like they've invented it with like sticks and stones. And then it will just take off. It will be absolutely massive. And we'll be in the corner with the white hair. Tony will be in a wheelchair. But we'll be like,
Andy,
you know what it was like. We had S-Bus.
him.
We had S-Bus. Like,
We had S-Bus.
Still flies mode 1. Oh my god. We fly with our minds now. No, Tony's going to be like, yeah, it's flat. And I'll piss myself.
Oh, God.
I like that bit, Jack. Always bring us down to earth.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a lovely vision for the future, Jack.
That's fantastic. I actually hope that happens now because it's funnier.
Oh man, I've been on like a lot of drugs lately, and
Recreational,
No, they've all
No,
been prescribed.
prescribed.
yeah. So anyway, like late at night, I've been off my tits, and I was like sleeping and like snoozing, and I had this kind of like dream vision that me, Digby Dan, and Richard, Richard, they're not toys. Basically went round Tony's house at 4 a.m. and had like, you know, those glass paints, painted like little alien things on torches.
Right.
And raised them with helium balloons to Tony's window and was shining little alien torches in his. And he was like, "Oh, you fucking!" And he got downstairs. He ran downstairs and he came out to his bay window, and there was Rich in a rubber alien mask, completely bollock naked. And I was like pissing myself laughing that we had like, like Tony shouted at me, and I'm like, "It's all right. I run the police. I warned them that we were going to abduct you." No.
Sounds like a real thing you do, though, not a dream.
Yeah, I know. I was
You
absolutely
sport it now, Jack.
myself laughing.
On an
What are we going to
unrelated,
do this weekend?
Oh, I know.
on an unrelated note, can I get your doctor's address and number? Just
No, oh, mate, it was good fun. I know.
Andy, just keep drinking the old wine, not the iron brew, mate.
Yeah, I'm out of iron brew. Yeah.
No, his iron brew in his blood. He's northern. That's like telling him not to eat deep fried Mars bars.
I'm in the Midlands, but to you guys, everything above sort of London is northern, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I know you hate Hobby King, but you should come down because we're all going Saturday, even if it's raining.
Yeah, as it give out rain for the weekend?
Weather looks
My
terrible.
weather station says low pressure.
That's like it's the biggest thing I've been struggling with this year is the weather. I've been trying to.
Shite, isn't it?
It's absolutely shocking. I mention it in like every single one of my videos, and I know it like everyone's getting annoyed with it, but it's. I literally step out the door, and the moment I step out the door, it pours it down. And
yeah, but it's not Houston, Texas, is it? Come on, you ain't having that bad.
Boys, let's all move to Atlanta. Yay.
Sherman G is in the chat from America, I think.
Hey.
I think he was the guy we saw cut the fun.
I actually got my shipping notification for those new Ishin goggles. He's just actually put that in the chat. I think the new Ishin goggles are going to be pretty good for a lot of beginners. Those I can't remember what they're called. EV something.
EV 100.
That's the one. Yeah. So those shipped today. So hopefully those will be arriving to have a look at. You got a set of those coming as well, Andy?
No, it doesn't. They said they were going to send me some, and I don't know if I've upset them or what. But
they've given me.
No, it was me. I mentioned them to Oscar, and then he asked to review them.
They said they were going to send me some, and then I got a message saying we've had to give them to someone else, and that's
completely my fault. It is me. Yeah.
You just. The thing is, I think those things, they're the kind of product that doesn't like. I mean, we all know that these companies send out products for review because they want exposure. I think it's the kind of product that doesn't even need exposure, because I believe there's something like 12,000 pre-orders on them, and I think they're so cheap that people have just risked the fact that even if they're not any good, they've gone ahead and bought some anyway, because they have like the features of the Fat Shark attitudes, but at a price of 78 quid. So.
There's some really interesting things. I had a quick look on the product page because they've been slowly adding more information to it, and I'd looked last night, and actually there was two things that stood out to me. One is it's got depth adjustment screens as opposed to just the IPD,
which is something that Fat Sharks don't even have, right?
Exactly, which I think is quite a unique feature that might not be gimmicky. That might actually work out, especially if you're not one to use the diopters, or that it doesn't support the Fat Shark diopters. The only other thing that I spotted there that I thought, well, that's a really interesting move that I don't think is a very clever one, is it seems to suggest that there are PSMA antennas. And obviously,
oh God, what are they designed for Mode 1 people?
it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it? Because we've all got stacks and stacks of SMA antennas.
You can tell that the northern Mode 1ers are wrong, because you're like, are you flying Mode 1? They're like, yeah. And then you ask them, is your cousin hot? And they go, yeah. Look, Andy, is your cousin hot?
They've got no diversity or no DVR either.
Yeah,
they've got diversity.
No, it has got diversity.
DVR.
They've got two antennas, but it doesn't say anywhere on the listing that it's got diversity.
So, well, it could be antenna diversity as opposed to true diversity.
Yeah,
that might be what they're doing.
Clearview is not diversity. It's like it works off one antenna, and then it puts in the picture that it thinks you're going to see using the other antenna, apparently.
I can never tell the difference between true diversity and antenna diversity anyway. I mean, it's basically doing the same thing, which is picking the best picture, really, isn't it? So
it's all about how it transitions between the two signals and if it doesn't distract you. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these goggles are like. There's another technology that's, I think, on the way out. You know, let me make sure I say this correctly. ISDT. I don't want to make sound not ISTD, because that would
That's
be
the charge.
an internet
That would
disease.
upset. That would
Yeah.
upset Sophie.
Yeah. Yeah. So that hack, stop it. Yes. Anyway, they've
I
got.
like this picking on NJ and not Tony. It's all good.
I'm just going to pretend. I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear it. Yeah, they've got a new. They've got a new thing here, which is their Battery Go checker. Now this is got this Battery Go technology. Have you heard about this? So there's not a lot known about it, and this product's like super premature because it's supporting something that isn't even out yet. But I think the idea is that there's going to be some kind of chip or something that goes in the battery so that you can actually read information about the current draw of each cell and that kind of thing. And then this has got an XT60. I don't know if we can see it here, but there's a little pin. There's a third pin up at the top there.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of make out. And that's going to give you, when you connect to this and this Battery Go technology works, it will be able to download, or you'll be able to view information from the battery. So that would be quite an interesting thing. I'd like all the stuff that this company do. ISTD are really, really good, make really good chargers, good stuff.
I've got one of their field chargers, and one of my mates has got one of them Battery Goes, and one of my, where we were flying on last Sunday, and one of my friends had he had like a really high reading on one of his cells. It was like 435, 418, 418.
That's the milliohm resistance of the cell.
So he plugged it in, and that checker drew the 435 down to 420 and leveled everything off for him.
Oh, great.
I think they were like 20 quid, aren't they, or something like that?
Well, they do a couple of different ones, but yeah, I think this is the standard cell checker that they do, which is great. That's just really good to have in your flight bag anyway. But this is, yeah, it's called Bat Go.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, and it'll read pulse width module as well, so you can plug in a receiver, or you can look at the modulation from your transmitter if you wanted to do that. And it's quite a useful tool, but it's just kind of, it's out before a lot of this stuff has kind of got purpose yet. Another thing it'll do, it will balance the cells of a battery on its own, so you can plug your balance port in and set balance, and it will actually go about balancing the battery as a standalone device, which you think is a bit weird because most of us use balancing chargers anyway. But I've got some old batteries that are sitting around, and weirdly, you'll find some of them will kind of drift out, and it's nice just to be able to check and rebalance the battery without having to hook it up to your charger if you want.
Yeah, that's what he did on the weekend.
Yeah.
We plugged the batteries in, and he just leveled everything out really nicely. And
do you know what's really weird?
You can't go wrong.
Do you know what was really weird? A friend of mine, a great FPV pilot, actually, freestyle pilot, called Bruno Carmo FPV. Bruno, he, in that period between kind of the end of winter and getting flying again, he stored a load of R-line batteries. And the R-line batteries are great, as we know. They're decent cells, high performance, like 90C 4S. And on all 4 of the packs he had, I think it was cell 1 was almost completely flat, which is really peculiar. And I couldn't quite work out how that would happen just by the nature in the way a 4S is wired up. You know, you've got the 4 in series, and then you've got the connections to your balance port that are all terminated at the JST plug. So I don't know why or how that could have happened, but every single one had this problem. So it's no harm to have something like that where you can just check all your batteries lying around the house. I mean, I've got 6S 5,000 milliamp helicopter batteries here that are sat in storage. You know, every so often it's good just to make sure nothing's drifting out on one of those or doing anything weird.
RC, do you remember All Things That Fly podcast? Do you remember, is it RC Powers or whatever his name is? He said something about storing your batteries in a fridge, and it's actually
the only time you need to do that. Yeah, that's if it's full. If you fully charge the battery, I mean, if you fully charge a battery, you fly it the next day, it's fine. If you fully charge a battery and you want to store it for any longer, then the idea is to chill them, and they won't wreck the battery quite as quick as if you just leave a fully charged battery, you know, sat there at room temperature. But I personally, I think I wouldn't worry about it. If you're going to do that, put it in an airtight plastic bag. Don't just whack it in the fridge where...
Did you see that video about massaging the batteries as they charge? I thought that was ridiculous.
Or the
other really
the shaking
important
the battery
thing
as
about
well.
if you're chilling a really important thing about chilling a battery is make sure it's warmed up to room temperature or ambient temperature before taking it out of the plastic bag.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, everything condenses on it, and you've got a whole world of pain. You don't want that.
And also, cold batteries fly terribly too, so you wouldn't want to fly it straight out the fridge.
No, down the pants, then in the copter.
Indeedy.
I need that on a shirt. Tony, 2017. Out the fridge, down the pants, then in the copter.
We need to sell some LDO t-shirts with the LDO sign on the front and the down the pants. Out the fridge, down the pants, in the copter on the back.
Oh my god.
They sell. Answers in the chat.
Tony, if you can get that tattooed to your arse, I'll be really nice to the mode winner.
Do you guys sell LDO t-shirts? I'd buy some of those if you got some.
Well, we've had a
NJ, pay for yours.
I still need to. Yeah, I need to sort that and wear it and
I think we're gonna do some. I'm gonna front the money for another batch of 10, but it means getting Jack off his arse to actually go down and print them because they're all hand printed by Jack.
I don't print them. I do not print them. My old boss, who hates me, prints them. He like grunts at me and stuff.
Okay.
I think that's why he did it wrong on purpose.
So we are going to do some because a couple of people have asked for them.
I want to take Digby down there.
So we're going to do another 10. So if you want on Andy RC, we will certainly sort you out.
I definitely want one. Yes, I'll send the money over for you.
Excellent, we will do that because a couple of people have asked for them. And then
NJ, you going on tour anytime soon?
I'm out. I've got a tour of Holland in the beginning of November.
Right, I'm going to send this anyway and then guilt you.
You have to wear it and have a
think about it.
Playing.
Sophie will look great in bed with this on.
I like this.
Oh my god!
Pick on NJ.
I'll never get called for work again.
I hope she.
Much better than pick on Tony.
I hope she never sees this.
Oh god!
Put it on private.
Mate, if she watched the first 10 minutes of this, she'd be in a coma. It'd be on the mirror in like 10 seconds. This is girl repellent. Do you know what I mean? Like, her eyes would start bleeding, let alone becoming deaf.
It's actually a very good point.
I know. She'd be like flat Earth. She would just like throw the laptop out the window. Like, where did they get that Yeti from? You know, like...
Can we ask? Can we put? I'm going to put a shout out to our people on, our regulars who tune in. Who would pay for an LDO t-shirt? If I front the money and get them all done, who put in the chat if you'd like a t-shirt and what size? Let's just see if
remortgage now, mate. No one's going to buy them.
I reckon we'd get a few people buying it.
You've got to buy it here for sure.
See, look,
I'm always after clothes.
There you go.
Baby Boy and Mikey Dread have both said yeah.
There you go. There's 2 more. There's 3.
Hang on. Let me straw poll it. Hang on. Do they want the bootleg versions or not?
Baby Boy wants one.
Can I just ask? A lot of people won't understand this, but I saw you guys posted a picture of some. They look like metal sheets with
the. Talk about that.
Oh right, sorry.
Coming soon to the shop.
Am I in trouble?
I don't know what you're on about.
We don't know what you're talking about. Shush.
I don't know what you're on about. That's why I'm asking.
Definitely no shiny things. But
David Vinderstall is not coming down next week.
Changing the subject entirely. So we've said about the Hobby King event this weekend. Probably going to be wet, but we'll still be out there. Delta Hawks have said that their event this weekend up near Derby, there's already 7 pilots in reserve, so don't bother signing up. But also they've said they're having a look at the weather, and they're going to say a decision tomorrow night. So that's the Friday the 8th, whether they're going to run it or not. Just because at the moment it looks a bit.
What is this Hobby King?
No, that's the Delta Hawks event up in Derby.
Sorry.
So that's the penultimate British Championships qualifying event, and then the last British Championships qualifying event is going to be next weekend at the 3D Championships. So lots of heli guys. So Jack isn't welcome, and that's up near Leicester. But there are still a few places for that. I spoke to them this evening. They said they're still looking for a few people. They've got a load of people going for their racing up there. So but there's still a few spaces. So if anyone wants to get in with the last chance to fly in a qualifying event for the BFPVRA British Championships, which is end of October, then I've just put the link in the chat to their sign up.
Where's that?
That's up near Leicester, so it's the 3D Championships. It's another
miles away. Everything is miles away. Sod the blooming.
Well,
until it comes down south, I'm not doing it. It's too far away.
Well, you can go down to Cornwall. They've been doing loads down there.
Everything's too far away this year. Like it started in the south and it's just moved up north. Every FPV event has been.
All the event organisers have all got burnt out, Tony.
I know. I think
so. You can find some people to organise some events. There's the Quad Club guys. So the Drone Zone Arrive and Flies. I've checked with Chris G. And they're going to continue them on throughout the winter. So, and they run like from early in the morning to late in the afternoon. So, if there is any of those days that they're running where there's at all a break in the weather, then there'll be loads of flying going on there, even throughout the winter. So, bring your coats and bring your transmitter mitts and whatever, and that will still be the depths of winter. So, the next one that they're doing is Sunday the 17th. And they do it kind of fortnightly and alternating between Sunday and Saturday.
I'm going to the Sunday the 17th one.
There you go.
Yeah, Sherman, if you're out of toilet paper, buy a Let's Drone Out shirt. And London FPV said next event's Tony's backyard. I'm well up for that.
I actually haven't got a backyard. I've only got a front one.
You got a shed in your backyard?
I haven't got a shed yet. I'm getting it
party
ready.
Where the shed should be.
I'm getting ready for a shed. It's going in soon. Richie's coming around and doing a shed.
Yeah. Al Fishy.
More people said yes to t-shirts than no, Jack. So
yeah, whether you'll actually get the money out of them, who knows?
I'm going to front the money and then we'd get the money back to me. So I think we're going to do it.
He whinges at me anyway. I'm going to put an episode up tonight as well. Al Sushi, thank you, mate, for the sorting me out. And yeah, Tony is that dumb.
Yep, peace. I am.
He learns from his dogs. It's a feral house.
That one is highly intelligent. The one downstairs isn't.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Hang on. Refresh results.
I bet it says more than
Two people said yes. One said no.
Well, there you go. The majority wins. You idiot.
Oh my god. Is Digby Dan ever going to stop this?
No. Let's keep rolling. I like this.
There's a question here. There's a question here from Davey Boy saying, is there any micro brushless quads that can be flown in the house, or a brushless motor is just too nuts for that? Well, personally, I think you really want to go maximum kind of 2S and keep it light, and preferably one with prop guards, because the performance is great. So they're much nicer to fly. You can fly them more confidently. but they will do a little more damage. Actually, the person who's got the most experience with tons of different brushless micros is Andy, so he's a good one to get an opinion on this.
Well,
you can't. He's mode 1. Can you trust
well,
it?
I think that brushless for indoors is a little bit over the top. Now, people tell me all the time that they burn out brushed motors. I'm yet to have a brushed motor burn out on me, but people tell me that they do. I find brushless indoors is a little bit too much, mostly because the noise. Usually when I'm like flying indoors, there's other people in the house, and the brushless motors with the tiny props, they absolutely scream. And like you say, even if they've got prop protectors on, you could easily do some damage by doing full throttle and it going through the ceiling. So for me, I keep for indoors. I mean, there are brushless models out there that will fly nicely indoors, but with brush models, because they don't have the power, I find they're a little bit more efficient and you'll get a longer flight time indoors. So I tend to keep the brushed models indoors and the brushless outdoors, and that's sort of what I tend to go for.
Andy, I've seen your video on the Dust X58, I think.
Yeah.
Have you had to go with that indoors?
I have, yeah. With that particular one, I think I had to switch it to a high volt battery. The problem with a lot of these micros is they're definitely pushing the boundaries, I think, when it comes to amp draw and things like that, and the connectors not being big enough. So yeah, with the Dust 58,
You don't get a good lick on them like a good old Dean. Sorry.
no, that exactly. And I find that I suffer with a lot of brownout issues with them because they're just drawing so many amps, whether it's the ESC that resets or the flight controller resets or the camera cutting out. A lot of those models using what's the flight controller called? Is it called the Pepperfish? I think every single model that I've tried with that flight controller's had some kind of power issues. So yeah, I struggled with that. But what was that model? I reviewed a model in the week. It was called the Full Speed Bat, and it uses a 1S only flight controller, and that's been one of the best that I've reviewed lately. No power issues. Yeah, and I was pretty impressed with that. As Jack shows off his tramp there. It's not a VTX. It's someone he allows to live in his house for free. What's that?
That is the bearing puller in question.
Ah, the hobby converter.
And this is a motor, right? And you stick it in. Tony, this is how you were made. Oh no, wait, no, that's you were before Adam and Eve.
It looks a little bit pointy to me, to be realistic.
Yeah, and then
Needs to be rounded off a little bit.
If you just
such a
look at the tolerances, look, ready? Just it don't. So what do? Do you jam it in at an angle? Like
Just basically what everyone else does, just jab it in and hope for the best.
You don't do sod all. This is fucking useless.
Can I ask a question? Like, to me, the difficult part is removing. The difficult part is removing the C clip. How are you removing the C clip?
With circlip removers.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Get some proper C clip tools to do that. Otherwise, you're always going to be picking them off, aren't you? End up somewhere behind the sofa.
I use tweezers and they always fly off everywhere. I need to get some proper tools.
If you use tweezers, get those really big Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Put your hands inside one of them and then do it.
That's
and
a good
stay
idea.
Inside the bag.
Oh, put it in the bag. Oh, friend.
Oh, put a condom on it with hot glue. It don't work.
Oh, friend.
C-clip friend.
C-clip friend. Oh, friend.
Ooh, David. Oh, Kent.
Oh, fucking hell.
It's a lovely place. What do you like to live? Why do you live there?
Speaking, can I just say, speaking of David, have you all been watching the Rocket Knife stuff?
Yeah,
man.
Oh, so good.
I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. He's so like he just absolutely loves it, doesn't he? He's like so childlike.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I love seeing that. He's like, "Whoa, look at this! Look what happened."
It's him playing with his brother with the Barbies. I was like, oh, they still got it after all these
That was
years.
quite amusing, wasn't it?
I know. So next Tuesday,
Right.
Wednesday, he's down, depending on what is happening with YouTube. But I'll chat to him soon about or try and arrange a meetup if you guys want.
What is
In
coming
London.
to UK? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I will have a word with him and try and see whether we can all meet up.
That would be cool. Andy, do you want to come down for that? Come down.
It's really far for me though.
You just
Oh,
got.
come
do,
on.
because like
All you got to do is get a train, and then we'll take care of you.
Yeah, you can live in Tony's shed.
is that a euphemism or what? I still don't. With this southern dialect, I struggle with it. Living in a shed. Is that a...
He's going to Gatwick. You can get a flight back home.
Flight back? No, there's nothing around me. There's no airports or anything.
What?
Oh,
NEC is an
I live
airport.
in the middle of nowhere, man.
NEC.
This is not Stoke International. Or...
no, definitely not. No.
Oh my god, that is NJ's cracking jokes. Oh,
I'm definitely up for a meeting him. So that'd be fun.
Yeah. Look
I've
at
got
me.
to talk to him about
like,
a flat Earth anyway.
Look at me, like
Does
having someone.
David does not believe the Earth is flat. Surely not.
Well, funny
He's
enough, I had a conversation with him. I was like, "Can you bring proof with you?" Because my idiot. What did I say to him? Hang on.
My idiot.
I said, "Wait for it."
Didn't David send a glider to space?
Yeah, exactly.
He used a GoPro with a fisheye lens.
So it made it look round. Yeah.
Hang on. Oh my god, he's an idiot.
Andy RC asked in the chat earlier, how would we prove to you that
I did, yeah, because
round?
because I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I think that's one of the ways that you get into the flat Earth thing.
Oh my god. No, you get into flat Earth by being isolated from society.
Well, basically, I watched a video of Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I realized that if you were a flat Earth person, Neil deGrasse Tyson is like the devil. And he was saying that he asked somebody, what would it take to prove that we went to the moon? Because there's a lot of moon conspiracies. It all sort of goes in hand. And the person said, well, a picture of the landing sites. And then he showed them the picture of the landing site. Some Chinese probe went up there and took some pictures, and then someone said, well, NASA faked that. So he came to the conclusion that if somebody believes something, no matter if you give them the most amount of proof, they'll always come up with a reason for why their idea is correct. So.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like religion.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number one reason they don't believe you is because they're inbred.
I don't believe that, because I think Tony is really interesting, because
a specimen?
No, because to me, being vegan and believing the Earth is flat, there's a polar opposite to me. But
no, it's not.
They completely are, because veganism is. I completely agree with it. I think that veganism is probably the future. But then, and it's quite a left wing.
Don't encourage him.
It's like it's.
Do you ever want to come back on this show?
I'll let you in, Andy. You carry on, Andy.
I think Tony's got more control over this show than I think. That's why I'm.
Oh mate, yeah, trust me. He moans. I just agree with him. I'm just like, I don't want to do the show anymore. You can't not do the show. You come back. I'll find a way you can come back.
This show wouldn't work without Jack or Tony. I think you're like a couple, I would say.
Oh my god! The thing is, you guys, you three, cannot leave us alone for too long. We start getting a bit weird. So this is what the meeting was supposed to be about: was don't leave us to our own devices. Hence what I was on about earlier. Do you want to go to trial? And like NJ immediately was just like hand, face. Like, oh my God. That is the worst thing he could think. Other than having some sort of sex show between Jack and Tony, he cannot think of anything worse.
Well, I thank you for my vegan beliefs at least.
I think it's the way forward for sure. Yeah, but I also think it's interesting that because to me being a vegan is a very left wing thing, and believing the Earth is flat is a right wing thing. So you can't really.
Where does your political stance enter with what shape the Earth is? What?
I just see a lot of like people who think the Earth
communist pig dog.
I just think like I can just imagine. I'm not going to get into this. I'll get into a lot of trouble.
No, come on.
I just say that it seems like, I don't know, right wing to me seems like flat Earth and right wing goes together because it's, you know, it's quite a crazy idea, and veganism definitely left wing.
Yeah, but no NASA pictures have ever been real of the Earth. Find me a picture. What is real from NASA?
But are any of the flat Earth pictures real? So how can you know?
Yeah, the one with the turtle, man. You know,
I've got this thing. I didn't want to get into this, right? But I've got a theory. I've got this theory, right? And it is that the flat Earth people are the smartest people on the Earth. And I'll tell you why. Because I think the flat Earth people believe that the Earth is round, but they are trolling the entire of the internet because they know it winds people up so much to say that it's flat that they will. It kind of, and that's my theory. I think flat Earth people, it's like the biggest in joke on the internet, and like anyone who believes the Earth is flat actually believes it's round, but it's too funny to say that it's flat and argue all the time. So that's my theory. Is that correct, Tony?
Oh my God. He's like, I know this is a bit odd.
LDO has caught me out.
I thought so.
I know this.
I really like the comment that Davey Boy has put in the comments. I've got to read it out. I don't care who's listening.
Tony, you tool.
No, this one. It's a much better laugh on here with Jack and Tony. Jay used to bore the crap out of me. Sorry, guys, but he did. Sorry, I had to say that.
NJ's back to being, oh no, bring on the sex show.
I didn't say that. I'm reading out comments. That's all, man.
Co-host Tony thinks the Earth's flat. You don't mind bringing evidence with you that it's not.
I don't troll.
For real, what the fuck? Don't let him reproduce.
SpaceX.
No.
And how flat was the
It's my secret motive behind your visit, to meet him, sit him down and educate him.
Who?
You listen to the tinfoil hat episode. I don't mind talking to him. It would be fascinating to meet someone like that. It really is. He's like my Carl Pilkington. Where do I find the tinfoil hat episode? I'm like, you should save it for the plane journey. I don't know much about Carl Pilkington, so I sent him the Carl Pilkington's complete diaries, and then he just says thank you. That is funny. Tony brings me on to my next thing. Will you keep a diary?
Tony's diary.
Oh yeah, about all your flat Earth and vegan things, and like today I rescued a pigeon. Like I phone him up periodically, and he instantly gets distracted and then starts telling me about a wood pigeon that started eating whole acorns.
I was watching.
So I'm waiting. I'm outside a hospital, right? Me outside the hospital, right? He should be dragged into a mental hospital. Fucking flat Earth. But he's there 10 whole minutes telling me about this wood pigeon and like trying to the thought motions of Tony being like, how is this pigeon going to digest a whole acorn? It's like, if you
I was
mental
intrigued.
rambling,
It
Tony's your man.
swallowed a whole.
Can I give you a dictaphone?
I should have recorded it.
Lone Star's radio diaries. Is that what
Yeah,
we're doing?
he started talking to my ex-girlfriend and sending her bloody photos of fucking goats and that. He's got like a whole family of goats.
I love doing that house when I clean that house.
Show them the goats. Hang on. Wait. Hang
It's
on.
on my round.
Oh god. So he's got all the goats. He knows all their fucking names. They're like having
And the pigs.
Oh god, and the pigs. Hang on. Here we
Look,
go.
You don't have to just be friends with Goliaths like you, do you? You can have animal friends.
Is it because I resemble an animal? Is that why you like me?
Just you are an
yeah,
animal.
like if you walked across the Himalayas, they'd be like, "What the hell? There's the Yeti."
Yeah.
Always done you.
There are, Tone. There's a bird for you right there. She likes
That's
you.
the mama goat. She always comes and says hello. Look, I'm the animal whisperer. Look, they can't smell meat on me, so they come and say hello. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
That is
So,
why I can
this
just
is-
talk to the animals.
Tony, fascinating life, day to day. The little
I
things
should
that he
actually
gets up
vlog.
to.
I might do that.
Honestly, it's a
I might-
cross between Mary Poppins, who's lost her fucking mind, and bloody the animal whisperer, like, you know, fucking Snow White. You know,
I'm gonna
birds.
I'm gonna vlog my daily routine.
NJ, is your missus having a go at you? Has she been listening? Is that why you've gone off camera and muted me?
It's in the other room. He's going
Has
to
he
grab
had enough?
something.
Oh God. He's probably soliciting calls from the unholy one.
Yeah, it stopped being a show about drones about 20 minutes ago. It's my fault because I mentioned flat Earth.
Oh my
No
God.
one told me.
Oh,
Digby Dan, can you
Come on.
please stop
Subject.
the stream? Are you
So-
all right, NJ? Is everything
No.
all right?
Al has asked about the new Sunny Sky motors that go on the new Diatone GT2. So I shall show him because he's asked a couple of times to see them. But yeah,
Win the motors.
they're very beautiful.
they are. They do
Very
look
good.
nice.
They look great, yeah.
Yeah, they're really very good. And this new vibration isolating system that's in this looks quite interesting. So yeah, it's very pretty. It's a bit of a piggy though. It's a little bit heavier than the old one, but I guess these are 2205 or 2305. They're like 20.
They're bigger than
me.
205.
Yeah,
Win
they are. They're 23. 2306.
Sunny Skies.
The old one was pretty heavy because it was just a huge chunk of carbon, wasn't it? It's
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
was it
these
like 5
5
mil?
yeah, 5 mil.
I
But
like
with
the
bigger
silver
motors.
windings.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. They
Well-
should be interesting to see how that one flies.
When's the review coming out, NJ? I'll look forward to that.
I shall hopefully have that out at the beginning of next week. I did quite a few reviews and flights on the old one, so I know that frame and how it flies quite well. So it'd be interesting to see what they've improved or not. And yeah, hopefully it will be good. The only thing I don't like that they've kept from the old one is the Diatone SP2 VTX, and those I've had a few of those, like probably 4, and they're all terrible when it comes to filtering. They're just so much horizontal banding.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah, they're terrible for that. So that's probably the only thing that, as soon as I've done the review, if I like the way it flies and I'm going to continue flying it, I'll take that out and switch it for something else.
Are they selling the motors on their own?
I think Sunny Sky are, yeah.
So they're Sunny Sky motors.
They are, yeah. They've made no qualms in. They haven't hidden that at all. That fact, they've said this has been made with the help of Sunny Sky, and it's basically their motor, so you can get them as a proper Sunny Sky branded motor. But they feel really smooth, and I've had a quick hover test with it and checked it all out, and they seem to deliver a lot of power. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that flies. Yeah, I did like the old one.
Yeah, there's
But,
nothing wrong with running 5mm. I run 5mm on my race quads.
yeah, it is a chunky frame, definitely, and it's.
Is it laminated like the last one, like shiny?
Yes, it is. It has got that kind of
Yeah.
cellulose lacquer coat on it, like a car paint would. Which that's fine. It's nice and smooth. There's no sharp edges, which is obviously a good thing. Yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
You get all the great stuff, NJ. I haven't got any of this. I don't have the battery thing. I don't have the GT2. I think I upset a lot of people recently. I look forward to your reviews of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
And the goggles, because I don't have the goggles.
Yeah, Jack's
Not
got
really
your goggles.
about the goggles.
I think NJ avoids the show, gets the good stuff, and then comes back to the show. I think that's what it is. I think what's happened is, Andy RC, you haven't spaced it out. You've been like asking for stuff. Come on this show. They check you out, and they're like, "Oh God, no."
Well, the thing is,
I don't ask for stuff. I think that's my issue.
This is what we had a conversation about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I've said initially
It was
I was being sent links for just completely ridiculous things that I'm never going to review.
What, Hoovers
You know,
and
like-
things?
Well, not that ridiculous, but I mean, they are sort of flying toys, but stupid flying toys that aren't appropriate to my subscribers and just not in, you know, they're not serious enough. So I ended up kind of being quite short with the person that was sending me all these links saying, no, I don't want to review that bumblebee shaped quadcopter. And then eventually I wasn't trying to be mean, but I just sort of ended up being a bit of a bully and saying, well, you know, if you're going to keep asking, I want to review this. And just go cold until they came back and said yes. So I've ended up just being a bit of a bully, really, and asking for very specific things.
You are a total diva. You've been hanging around with Sophie too much. Being like, you know, I want my rider, or the show ain't happening.
No, see, she's not a diva though. She's very lovely. She's not diva-ish at all. I don't.
Oh,
think...
sticking up for her, are you?
As long as she's still
God, he's
paying,
never
of
coming
course.
back. He's been away
Yeah,
for
that's
4
it.
weeks. He's never going to come back.
Run away.
I know.
The new
He's
DJ
like, I don't
Inspire
want
has
that shirt
a
unless
longer
it
battery
comes with
life.
some lighter fluid.
I haven't seen that. What's that, Frank, about the DJI Inspire 3? I didn't even know they had a Inspire 3 coming out.
Don't
Oh
worry.
my God.
Click on the
Fucking
link.
wasted.
You'll understand.
Jack, you shut up for a minute. We're talking.
Do you
That
guys?
is
Can I
not
ask? Can I ask? Yeah, I was going to say, do you guys run DJI gear? Because there's a clear line, isn't there, between race drones and then aerial photography. So where do you guys sit with that?
I've got a Phantom 3 Pro, and I've had it for 2 years, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
till the USB stopped working properly.
it works fine, Jack.
No, it didn't.
DJI are definitely the leaders when it comes to aerial photography. From everything
Yeah, agreed. I think they're a great platform.
I think it's completely separate to the race quads, but I think they go hand in hand in that, you know,
I still haven't seen a DJI snail set up in person, in the flesh.
No.
Ah,
Go on, NJ.
Oh, what, a DJI snail?
Yeah.
I'm kind of tethered here. This is the problem. Hang on.
What's a DJI snail?
Oh, God, he even wears monitor headphones as well. He's so professional.
In ear,
I
they're called.
can't hear any of
I
you.
know, like.
Quick,
The
get your insights in
DJI
before I can hear
snail
again.
setup was their racing setup with their racing ESCs and motors and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, they did a race quad, didn't they? Yeah.
So what I do have here, and this was courtesy of a friend of mine that works at Redfin Models in the UK.
Is this a live unboxing?
Name dropping.
Isn't this exciting? No, it's not the quad itself, but these are the snail motors with their fancy weird. I think you can kind of
Clip on.
Yeah, that weird,
Yeah.
bizarre thing there. So there's these
Proprietary
motors,
prop.
and they're. Has this got their speed controller as well? I think so. Yeah, which
Yeah.
are really tiny, but these have been tested by a friend of mine who I trust very much, Matt Constable over at Redfin, and he said he was absolutely astounded at how smooth and good these motors were. So he's ripped them off his quad and said, you know, put them on your regular rig. So I'm going to chuck them on something I've got here just to see what they're like.
What protocol?
I'm now
are they
very
running?
interested, but yeah, they're quite interesting looking motors.
Protocol.
Say again.
Protocol.
For the
It's their own ESC protocol, I think. I don't think it's anything. I'm sure I asked this question to someone in the chat note. I don't know. It's not it's not D shot. It's not D shot. It's something 1 shot 125 kind of territory, that kind of.
Davey Boy says they have some ESCs as well, but they only run 1 shot 125.
Oh, there you go. So that's what it is. Those are the ESCs then that he's talking about. Those are the. So I'll probably not bother with these, and I'll just get straight onto the motors and try them out.
How much are the props? Do we know? Because I imagine that the fancy prop mounts are not cheap.
I don't know.
They won't be very good at crashes,
apparently.
Yeah, but yeah, bag of bits there. So I'll try those motors out on a frame. Actually, I'll tell you, I've got a perfect frame to try these out on, which is quite light. Which is again something Andy's already done. It's the B-Fight 210, which was a frame that Bang had sent me to review, and in the time it took them to send it to me and for it to arrive for me to review, they've stopped selling it.
Wow.
So it has no purpose now in life. So I
love that model. Gear Best.
That sounds like Jack. He's got no purpose now in life.
I know.
Gear Best still sell it. It's like 120 quid.
Yeah. It's so it's going to have I think I'll put those in that and see how that works out. So yeah, I'll try.
I've just had a look, and the Snail 5048 tries for the full set of 4, £3.32. So
it's not bad.
Not
a quid more.
No.
I always find that interesting that with DJI, the propellers are usually the cheapest thing. When you think about it, they should be the most expensive, the most important thing. But yeah, for the Phantom 4, you can get propellers for like £3. It's like what? But the drone costs, £1,200. Really, it's the most important thing, isn't it? I think. But yeah, that's the one thing that DJI does cheaply as propellers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting the whole prop thing at the minute. Hands down, still my favourite propeller is the Cyclone 5045s.
Yeah.
I think as soon as things started going to these crazy high pitches, that for me those only work on very light quadcopters, and if otherwise you're just going to draw a huge current and you're going to make your battery cry. And the problem is you've got motors now that supply so much torque. The other motor that was mentioned in the chat was the Cobra Championship Edition. Now that is my favorite motor, hands down. I've got that on my favorite builds.
Apparently they lost one of the people from Cobra.
Oh really?
One of the lead designers, yeah, unfortunately.
Oh,
I wish I remembered his name.
They're amazing motors, but my point is about the props is these high torque motors will literally take one of these 50-50 props and quite happily spin them and say to the battery, give me everything you've got because I'm going to quite happily deliver this power. And you'll end up with like 1.5 minutes worth of flight time and a battery that's going to last for about 50 cycles, if that, before you completely kill it. So unless you're running super light setups, I just think that mainly, although it's the fashion right now to have really high-pitched props, I think they're a terrible idea. You need to be running incredibly high KVs. But the Cyclone 5045 is a great combination between a bull nose. It's got a nice rake tip, so that they are nice and efficient and a little bit quieter on the tips. Yeah, everything about that propeller design is much more akin to good airflow, good fluid dynamics, and something that you're more likely to see in general aviation. You don't see crazy props. Yeah, you don't see crazy props like the some of these stupid high pitched props that are just nuts and they look stupid. You don't see those out in the aviation world because those kind of designs are just, they're hugely inefficient. Yeah. They look like something you see on a turbo prop when the prop's completely feathered. They might be good up at the very high KV, high end, like when they get to the real high throttle ranges, they might find a point of efficiency there, but everywhere else in the throttle range, they're kind of terrible. So, yeah.
I love
50-45s. Yeah, 50-45 is a great place to be, and around there, 4.5 to 4.7, I think. That's where things tend to work out well. For where we are with quad weights at around 500 grams, I think if you start getting lighter, you can look at higher pitch. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, rant over.
Right. Please don't ever leave us alone, NJ, if you can.
I shall do my best. Well, I'm around now for a good couple of months, so
Yeah.
I'll certainly jump on as much as I can. I'll drag Andy with me where I can too.
I know, Andy. You're on here, mate. There's nothing you can do about it.
You've got to come back.
Right, guys, raise your hand if you want Andy RC to be a permanent fixture.
Oh, definitely.
You know, this is well past my bedtime. You know, I'm on the Red Bulls to stay up for this, but I love coming on.
He is 12. No, actually, you wouldn't be able to be served Red Bull. You have to be 16.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not real Red Bull though. It's like Tesco's cheapy stuff. What's it called?
Vimto.
Look, I got proof here, Luke. What is it called? Red Thunder. It costs like 3p a can. You see, I'm legit here. Yeah, I'm usually up at.
Northern Swill.
I'm usually up at 5 a.m. working, and then I'm in bed by 8 o'clock. So yeah, it's a stretch for me. But don't worry, I planned for it. So I'll try and get on here as much as possible because you guys are awesome.
Do you want us to move the show forward a bit?
No.
We can do that for you.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
Because then we wouldn't clash with RC model groups or whatever.
Are they still going?
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Does anyone actually listen to that?
I can see a Digby dog.
I listen to you guys and I listen to the Steel podcast quite a bit as well because it's.
Yeah, I know, but it's like all over the shop, man. It's like never.
What's all over the shop? This one. That's what I love about it. That's what I love about it.
No, they're we're not quite as bad as them, but they're like Beta Flight 3.71, cutting your arm off.
I love the fact that this show isn't just quads; it's fun as well.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just fucking flat Earth.
I think if you talk about quads for too long, you can bore even yourself if you're into it. So I think you got to mix it up a bit. I think you got to have a bit of humor in there, and you got to talk about whether 5 inches is better than 3 inches.
I mean, you've got to talk. If one of your co-hosts is like with Sophie Ellis Bextor exclusively, do you know what I mean? Who cares about 4S here? You know what I mean? You're like, no way.
I think it's amazing. Yeah, I think it's I couldn't believe it.
But I don't actually play guitar for very often. It's only once now and again. I used to be in a band years and years ago, but I don't play for it that often anymore. Just now and again. But yeah, there are other people I'm working with now because I'm
name drop.
Whoever pays, I will play for.
What about anyone else we might know? What about Natalie Imbruglia? Are you into her?
I don't think anyone is because I'm pretty sure that's not her surname.
Yeah, I was going to say, who the hell is
Imbruglia? Sounds like
what is her name?
Inglesios, he's fucking love child.
Shania Twain? Celine Dion?
No.
What? No. One of them are Canadian, aren't they?
Celine's Canadian.
Yeah. What's wrong with her? Alanis Morissette. She's Canadian.
Video to come.
And attractive.
That's a bit ironic.
Carry on. I'm answering something in the chat.
He's bringing it back. Bringing it back.
Yeah, we got to wrap up though. Oh, man.
We're a bit. This is. Right. Let's just make it a 2-hour show. Let's do.
I've got the 12 minutes. On my bed. This is how awful this show is.
Let's just do this.
All right,
let's make it.
Last question. Anwishi FPV is asked in the chat.
He's wearing a BMFA. No, FPV UK career shirt. Well, he's not in there anymore. But where the hell did you get that from?
What is that?
That was from when I did my duty. I was as being on the committee.
Wow. Jesus Christ, that
What's
is
this BMFA jury duty or something?
Yeah, that is basically FPV pink prison jumpsuit right there, boys.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Owlish
You'd
FPV
like that, Jack?
Tony, have you tried the Crossfire yet?
Yeah.
Micro Crossfire, yes, we tried it Saturday. It was pretty rock solid for probably how long do you think I flied? A mile and a half?
I am no
Line
more
of, line of
this
sight
country.
with a
no
line
more
of sight with a
than
spotter.
visual line of sight. What Andy said. Anything that Andy says, Andy was there.
Line of sight with a spotter, a mile and a half.
Pretty
Yes.
much rock solid, and Jack was my spotter with a pair of binoculars.
If
So
the Earth
No,
was
I
flat,
know you did.
if
I
the
know
Earth-
you did.
if the Earth was flat, then you'd definitely stay in line of sight. So.
no, it was
Yeah.
100% flat, and yeah, it was they were rock solid. And now Mikey Shred, which is his new name, Mikey Dread, he sent me a GoPro. Thank you very much again. Yeah, it's,
Oh my God.
oh,
He's
just
gonna
someone
pay-
send Jack something,
Oh,
please.
Andy, can you write a love song for fucking Tony and Mikey?
I probably
Mikey loves Mikey or something like that. I don't know.
let me just write this down. Yeah, that's golden.
Yeah, and like old Sophie boy here can do the guitar riffs.
You can play the drums, Andy.
Yeah. No, what was the question? Yeah, Joe. After this show, I am just gonna get a one-word message from NJ.
You got sent free heat shrink, Jack.
What? Yeah, I did. I know. I look.
Yeah.
I am.
Where was your thank you? Look, at least
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying
did. I thanked him earlier. Oh God, I hate this show.
we've got 9 minutes to make it 2 hours. I'm sure. Is there any more questions, please?
Yeah, NJ's got one.
Go on, NJ.
Have I?
Yeah, you're
What is
reading
it?
something in chat.
Oh no, I was answering something in chat. We were just talking about props.
Well, you can talk out loud. You can read stuff and then answer, and we can all learn.
No,
Green Patches stole your graphic for a T-shirt.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He asked for it. He asked.
Oh, well, he kind of stole it.
I've got. Hang on. I bought the Prasheen bag. So this is my new FPV bag.
Oh, look.
I can keep all my FPV stuff in there.
I wanted to ask you guys something. Has there been any more information on what the announcement regarding to drone registration in the UK? It seems to have gone a little bit quiet, and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, because our representative Simon Dale doesn't actually talk to any of us.
Right.
I think he got to that level and he was just like, I give up.
Yeah. I just have
Should
this
we
feeling
just phone him now? I've got his mobile number. Should we just phone him? It's like
to
10
make up
o'clock.
the next 10
See
minutes.
if we can get him on next week.
Si! Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, it's me. I know.
No, Tony didn't fly for 1 mile. No, it was 10 meters.
Yeah,
It was. I get it all wrong. 1 mile to me is
he
like.
thinks the Earth's flat. You can't believe the word that comes out of that man's mouth. He's friends with goats.
Tony, sensible question. That TBS micro TBS package was that the package that comes with the module, or did you already have the module?
It all comes together.
Yeah, and it's what, 130 quid, something like that.
£113. You get the module that plugs in the back of a Tyrannus, and you get the receiver.
The receiver. So is the receiver is it kind of a long thin with a silly long aerial? What's the compare it to an XSR? What's the kind of dimensions?
An aerial what goes that way. So it's like a T.
Oh, okay.
So you got an aerial that way, which you put up through the wing, and then a weird waggly bit. What doesn't matter if it lands on the ground. So
trailing passive.
Yeah.
The only thing is with it that I will say.
Antenna the right way.
is that you have to upgrade to OpenTX 2.2 so that you can use
Run the
the
script.
Lua script in order to change the settings on it.
Right.
So you have to go into like the menu, read the SD card. Did you know that they've hidden a little game of Snake on the memory card, and you can execute the Lua script to play Snake on your transmitter?
No.
I
Did you not know that?
This is
No.
That sounds like a painless 360 video right there. That does.
Right there. Oh, I'm not actually talking to him because I've recorded some, you know, the ceramic bearings. Do they do anything? And then I read off my findings to him, and he was like, "But what about the efficiency? Does it help with efficiency?" And I'm like, "What? You want me to get a watt meter and a thrust stand?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was just like, "I fucking hate you." I just,
Well, you'll see him at the weekend.
oh
Yeah,
God,
is
I know
coming?
it's just so much effort, man.
I spoke to him. I spoke to him yesterday, and he said he was seeing if I was coming down, but he's staying over there, so he's going for a couple of days. But you'll get to see him there. Yeah,
Be painless.
he's a cool guy.
He is.
I know.
Mikey Dreads put a question in saying, is there a premium quality silicone wire that you guys use in your builds? Short answer for me is no, but I tend to just get all my bits from reputable sellers, and just I think as long as it is good silicone coated wire, and just make sure you get the right gauge, and that's really about it.
There's
When you buy
nothing
it
worse.
sold.
There's nothing worse on non-silicon wire when you come to solder and then the plastic just burns up the wire. And
Oh, it's horrible.
I hate it. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, silicon wire is just the best for that.
That's what I was saying. It's just, but why do ESC manufacturers still insist on using plastic wire on all the ESCs? Like, everyone move to silicone. It's so much easier to work with.
Probably cost, I'd imagine. If you look at the price of silicon wire against the plastic ones, it's so much dearer. I imagine it's to do with that, but I hate it. I'd rather spend the extra and not have, because you can get shorts too, because the plastic coating, it burns up the wire, and then eventually it shows the metal part of the wire, and you can get shorts and all sorts of stuff. I hate it.
Yeah, it's horrible stuff.
The what do you call it? X4Rs. Someone brought a new one of them, and they finally done silicone wires for that.
Wow.
At last, so
Okay.
praise the Lord. If Free Sky are actually listening to us, there's how you find the snake in the Lua script. I just put it in the chat.
What about the video frequency table that I sent you a link for at some point, Jack? Have you tried that?
What, on the Lua script?
Yeah.
Mate, that's not out yet, is it? Has that been implemented?
No, I sent you a link to it to set it up.
Oh no, that's still in RC release candidate. I am not mental. There is no way I'm putting that on my Tyrannus. Like, it will just go mental. Sorry, like, unless it's, you know, like, I did fuck up on Tony's though. I put the channel order wrong, so every time he starts up a new model, the channels are like completely in the wrong order.
Just got throttle on the switch, is it?
I know. I had it running on Betaflight. Martin Fossil stuff sent me his IO little tiny 3S quad, and on the Betaflight, all my channels are right. But when I armed it outside and put the props on, it just flew up in the air and flew right. But
any ideas, NJ?
I'm sorry, I completely zoned out. What was the question? Hey, at least I'm honest. I could have just had it.
Honesty is the best policy. I love it.
Do you know what I was thinking about, right? And this actually sounds slightly mad. I was thinking about, has anyone tried turtle mode? And I was about to say, I'm going to talk and say, has anyone tried it? Because I programmed it, but I haven't tried it yet because I haven't crashed upside down. But yeah, we'll get on to that.
That's what's holding the Earth up.
Turtle mode.
It is. No, but I've seen people burning out ESCs, so be careful out there. If you're trying to flip it in long grass,
Only if you
That's
arm
my
and
only
do it.
reservation.
Don't arm and do it. Put it in turtle mode.
Can I just say, is this the mode where if you're upside down, it tries to right itself by
Yes.
flipping the mode? And that
Yeah.
is this something that only works with 32-bit ESCs as well?
No, it works
No.
with. In fact, I don't think they've put the D-Shock commands into BLHE32 yet. That seems to be taking a lot longer to update, even though it's the newest protocol. But D-Shock 600, it's version 16.63, which if you update your ESCs to that, you'll see in brackets it says D-Shock commands, and then it will work fine for turtle mode. And you have to. I think you do have to disarm to be able to get it to work on the mode, from what I remember in Betaflight 3.2. But I've checked it; it all seems to be working. But yeah, that was my only thing I was going to say. Is if you're flying in long grass, you do run the risk of if they snag up.
I saw 4 motors burnt out on Faceballs. Someone posted a picture of all 4 of their copper wires on their motors black. And Mikey Dread said, turtle mode is for lazy pilots. Get off your ass and go and get your quad and turn it over.
It's a very good point.
And then hope that 3.7 doesn't rip your arm off.
Yeah. I mean, it's no harm having it on there, because there might be an instance, say, for instance, if you ended up on a flat roof of something and it was going to be a nightmare to get up there, and then that might genuinely be a good point in case to have it ready on the quad. So there's no harm in that. But if mine was face down in long grass, I just know all I'm going to do is the motors are going to stall and they're going to heat up and
go and get it.
Yeah, just walk up and flip it over yourself. But and then the other thing is, in a race, maybe that's a lifesaver. I don't know.
I can't remember what video I was either watching a video or reading something, and there's going to be something coming out where if you're in acro mode and you hit a gate, it's going to notice that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then it's going to put it in stability mode to right itself. And then there's also going to be beeps coming through as well. So rather than having a buzzer on a switch that comes through the motors.
So that's already part of the new version of Betaflight. So the 3.2. Yeah. So I've put RC4 on 2 of my quads, and whenever you trigger the beeper, if you've got 16.63 on there with the D-Shock commands, it will now. Actually, I think it does it on 16.6 as well. Ignore that. Right. But yeah, it will now buzz the. But if you leave that going for a while, let me give you this as a warning. If you left that, actually really does heat your motors up, making those noises. And if you leave that going for 5 minutes while you're looking for your quad, no joke, you'll get to your motors and they will be red hot. So if you're going to have that set up, only do it in small bursts to locate the quad. I still don't think it's a good alternative to actually just installing a £1 buzzer on your quad. But I mean, it's clever; it can do it, but it's like
it's
don't
a
just
bit
leave
of
it
a redundancy as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
just don't leave it on. Like if you're trying to find your quad, just do it in bursts. Don't leave it.
I don't know.
5 minutes.
I don't know why. Like Kiss haven't put that up in the Lua script in order to do that. So if you had a particularly bad crash and you're using a buzzer, and then you think, hang on a minute, I know it's around here. I'm pressing the switch. I can't hear my buzzer. I think the crash has damaged my buzzer. You should be able to then Lua script it to be like beacon, and then motors should beacon.
I think most of these things, the nice thing with Betaflight, they just end up offering everything on modes. I mean, if you look at the modes tab in Betaflight now, it's just goes on for ages. There's so many things that you can do like that, where you can just assign it to a switch of your choice. So yeah, I'm really liking where Betaflight's going at the minute. It's kind of gone back to being my favorite. I was flying race flight for quite a while.
Traitors. For you.
Hey, I move around all the time. I was on KISS for quite a long time, but it's whatever feels the best for me. But I am back on Betaflight 3.2. I'm really enjoying the stick feel of that, and the feature list of Betaflight's always been the best of all of them, I think, anyway, because they're so community driven.
So the do you know the beeping on 317? Say if you crash your quad, and I've set my beeper to go off after 2 minutes. So is that not good then?
No, that's fine. You mean the beacon? Yeah,
it's still the same thing.
Yeah, it's the except now they're saying that you can trigger it from a switch. So rather than waiting for the 2 minutes for it to go off, you can use like some kind of serial pass through to the ESCs, I imagine, that sends a beeper off. It sends them off beeping.
So is it just as bad then, or not?
Probably the same. Probably the same. Yeah.
No one will ever listen to this on playback. It is worse than fucking Lord of the Rings.
It is a long episode, but it's been fun. I enjoyed it.
We've made it, I think, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
2 hours.
Tony, I officially hate you.
Excellent news.
it's a love-hate relationship, though, I can tell.
Andy, I'm
It is.
booking you for the Christmas episode.
You have to wear a Christmas hat.
That's fine.
Andrew, can I have a favour from you?
Depends.
You know the show list on Google Hangouts.
The sheet
No, the
one.
Google list. Yeah,
Yeah.
Can you add more of the show dates?
Oh
to
God.
it? There's got to be an algorithm for it.
Scraping it off of the. I don't know.
I'll pay you.
I don't need paying.
In Sunny Sky Motors, they don't have C clips. All you've got to do is write a comment in the comments abusing Tony.
It'd be horrible to me.
Yeah. Shut up, Tony.
Look at
All right.
Digby the dog. I love Mummy. Ooh, Jaxie's mum.
It's been an extra long 2-hour show. I think it's time to wrap it up now.
Yep, thank you. Yep, you've been listening to Let's Drone Out. The boys have been back in town for a whole 2 hours. Thank you, NJ. I promise I will never subject you to this ever again.
No, of course you will.
I won't. I haven't got control. I haven't got an end button. If I would have been like,
We'll find one.
if it'd been me like half an hour ago, I would have been like, "Shut up, Tony!" And I am Andy RC.
Thank you.
Way past his bedtime.
Oh, yeah.
He's literally nocturnal now. That's it.
Yeah.
And Frank and Andrew.
Both of us.
Yep. I've been your lovable dickhead who's really mean to Tony and will forever be alone. Thank you.
Wow, that ended on a really good point.
Yeah,
No, it's
thanks for saying goodbye to me as well, Jack. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, bonjour, everyone. Bonjour.
That's why I've clicked on you. Have you noticed? Look, I'm talking. It's on you.
Oh, I can't see me on it. All I can see is your bloody big head.
Oh, I've clicked on you.
All right, Digby.
Press the